Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. With the formation of the Cross Guild, composed of three quite famous pirates being Buggy the Clown, Sir Crocodile, and Hawkeye Mihawk, as well as their subordinates, the Marines have now gained rewards because of the things they've been doing around the world. Through chapter 1080, we found out a little bit about how this new reward system works, which is based on stars instead of strict numerical values on their wanted posters. So in today's video, we're going to talk about the information given so far about this new reward system for Marines, what the value of each star might be, and what the value of an admiral may turn out to be in the end. Before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it keeps motivating us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, within the Navy there are multiple positions, but the most important are the Fleet Admiral and the Admirals, who are the strongest within the entire organization. They are the ones responsible for leading the Marines and dealing with large problems that ordinary Marines just can't handle. Now, although those might be the most important within the Navy structure, there's still other Marines who are in very powerful positions and who may have great fame around the world because of their numerous accomplishments. Some names include Garp, Suru, Smoker, and even Kobe, and they've all played really important roles within the organization and have been recognized as strong, helpful Marines, where they've been able to face off against very powerful enemies and even been responsible for establishing peace in certain countries. However, with the alliance of Buggy, Crocodile, and Mihawk, the Cross Guild was created, a trio of powerful pirates that seek to hunt down Marines and placing huge bounties on their heads for pirates and bounty hunters to seek and capture and claim the bounty's worth of each of these Marines. Now, we still don't know the exact system of assigning values to sailors and how it works. In chapter 1080, it's basically said that each captain equals 1 star. Each star equals 1 treasure chest worth 100 million berries. We also learned that Kobe, of all people, has a 5-star bounty, even though he occupies a much lower rank within the Navy. And this is due to the fact that he's considered a hero of the Navy, a title which magnifies your name and makes your bounty much greater. By having this 5-star bounty, this means that Kobe has a bounty equivalent to 500 million, a considerably high bounty compared to the rank that Kobe occupies within the Navy. Kobe's bounty then makes us wonder how many stars a Fleet Admiral or even regular admirals might have, because an admiral has a similar power level that's identical to possibly Yonko, or maybe even a little more powerful depending on who we're specifically talking about. So this could mean that they're going to have a very similar level of reward, between 1 and 4 billion berries. The amount of stars that Kizaru, Ryukugyu, Fujitora, and mainly Akainu could have, it's gotta be a lot. Now, Akainu is currently the Fleet Admiral, and he's commanded the entire Navy and possesses absolute order above all, except for maybe the Gorosei or somebody in the world government. This means that within the Marines, Akainu's orders are absolute, as are those of the 3 admirals, Fujitora, Kizaru, and Ryukugyu. So these Marines are gonna have very large bounties placed on their heads, and they could end up having somewhere between 10 to 50 stars for each of them. And what may eventually differentiate between the bounties of each of these 4 sailors is of course the time they've held their post. As the current ranking Fleet Admiral, Akainu's reward has to be the highest within the entire Navy, followed closely by Kizaru's reward because he's been an admiral that's held the post the longest, in addition to being practically Akainu's right-hand man. The bounties of Fujitora and Ryukugyu are most likely very similar amounts because they've both held the rank of admiral for about the same time. Seems they both even joined at the same time. And this was after Akainu was promoted and Aokiji abdicated his position and left the Navy to seek other pastures and eventually find himself among Blackbeard's ranks. Aside from these 4 mighty sailors, there are going to be other Marines that stand out because of the things they've done throughout their career. And the top of the list has gotta be Monkey D. Garp, because in his prime, he was the strongest sailor that ever existed, as he was the only one who could ever confront Goldie Roger, and they fought to a stalemate. And I also want to say that in these recent chapters, it doesn't look like Garp has slowed down much. I mean, sure, he's lost some ability because he's got gotten up in age. After we saw what he did on Full-Lead Island, it makes me really wonder how powerful he might have been back in his prime with everything we saw. Now, during their intense clashes between Roger and Garp, they came very close to each of them losing their lives, always ending in a stalemate between these two powerful individuals, demonstrating that Garp's brute strength equaled Roger's. We also know that Garp has been offered the position of Fleet Admiral and Admiral several times, but because of his pride and also not wanting to be a pawn and under the direct governance of the world government, he has turned down the position every time it has been offered to him by Rengoku. Tsuru also has some great fame around the world, and just like Garp, she's feared because of her past accomplishments. Tsuru has been able to trap so many pirates because of not only her great intelligence of strategy, but she's also been given the title of Great Staff. Moving on to the Vice Admirals. While they don't possess the same level of physical strength as an admiral, it's still quite clear that they are very competent Marines, managing to accomplish many feats during their careers as sailors. So many of these individuals should probably have a reward of 3 to 10 stars depending on that sailor's accomplishments. And this high bounty makes bounty hunters and even civilians who want to get the bounty of these characters very interested in being able to capture the Marines. Within the Navy, we also have the position of Rear Admiral, who may not be as well known as other Marines, but they are still very faithful to their positions. And among them, we have Hina, who's appeared a few times during specific arcs and would most likely have a reward between 1 to 4 stars. Moving down to the chain of command, we then come to the Commodores, Captains, Commanders, Lieutenant Commanders, and other lower positions where they may have around a 1 to 3 star bounty, depending on how famous these individuals might be. But this whole hunt for Marines started because of a single organization of pirates called the Cross Guild, and it is those individuals responsible for assigning the reward on each Marine, being created from the events that took place during the Revelry arc. During the events of the Revelry, the leaders of each kingdom gathered in one place in Marijois, and they decided to abolish the warlord system, as their members had been causing major problems for some of their kingdoms, mainly Sir Crocodile and Doflamingo, who tried to take the kingdoms over for themselves. So with the dissolution of the warlord system, its members began to be hunted again, recovering their old bounties. However, 3 former warlords just wouldn't accept this situation. Buggy, Crocodile, and Mihawk decided to team up to finish off the Marines who dared to face them. And not only that, they didn't want to wait for the Marines to come after them to try and capture them. After teaming up, Buggy started placing a large bounty on all Marines with the aim of making Marines a target. Sailors have long hunted pirates, so it's now only fair that they have become the hunted in the eyes of the pirates. By initiating this plan, Buggy was looking to weaken the Marines in a much faster way because it would limit the number of existing Marines. Because pirates, there might be a bunch. But with the birth of each new era, new pirates appear in the seas in search of their dreams, and this seems to have become a very constant cycle over the last several hundred years. On the other hand, Marines is a slightly more complete position, and there's still a great risk of them losing their lives. And it's only those who have the great determination to join the organization, in addition to the fact that they're able to prove themselves worthy of becoming a Marine and sailor. So once the word got out that Marines were being hunted just like pirates, hardly anyone would want to join the Navy. And this would slowly cause the Navy to lose people and not have more people join because of the Marine hunt that is now currently taking place. Another great detail we learned in chapter 1080 was why and how Sword exists. And so even though Sword exists to take care of the pirates, and they have a bit more latitude to do things that the regular Marines just don't have the ability to do, they still are not going to be able to deal with the powerful pirates like the Yonko, and even some members of this new generation that are constantly growing and evolving. So other organizations like the Revolutionary Army, they're also going to have a much easier time overthrowing the world government because they no longer have the Navy or even the SSG to protect them. The Navy's resources are constantly diminishing by the capture of Marines around the world, making the world government totally unprotected from pirates, revolutionaries, and any other group that seeks to bring them down. So as we journey further and further into this final saga of One Piece, we see that the Navy and even the world government are at a huge disadvantage. Even though they have very powerful members, there still won't be enough to bring about this great change that's happening in the world, or maybe even stop it for that matter. So gradually, these two great organizations that rule the world are slowly going to lose their credibility. gradually making it so they no longer have influence over the world. So as we can see, this is truly the beginning of the end, and huge changes are going to happen in the world of One Piece. Pirates, Marines, Gorosei, and even the Revolutionary Army are moving towards the big battle that is bound to happen towards the final leg of this journey. Everyone is joining forces and forming alliance to conquer territories, acquire strong allies to be able to win this great confrontation that is yet to come. And with the fall of the SSG looming, the world government will only solely have the Navy to protect them. However, now that we know there's this bounty system and it's really got legs and funding behind it, a lot of things are indicating that very soon the Navy may also fall with the help of the Cross Guild, because it's slowly weakening, making it possible for some powerful Yonko or other pirate to bring them down and truly start becoming a major threat to what the world government wishes to keep control of, the world. So with all that said, my friends, we'd now love to know what you think about it. What do you think about these bounties? Do you think it's plausible, or do you think that the fleet admiral and admirals might even have higher bounties than even we've predicted? Next, although we couldn't talk about every Marine at length, what's a Marine that we didn't mention that you think is going to have a very high bounty? We didn't mention Tashigi or lots of other notables, so where do you think they would rank within the structure and hierarchy of who would have really high bounties? And how many stars do you think they would earn, and why? And finally, when do you think the Cross Guild is gonna make their eventual move? Now, of course, with everything that's going on right now, Oda has plenty of different storylines to keep track of. We have everything happening on Egghead Island, the impending arrival of the Navy and Agorase, we have what's going on Full-Aled Island and Garp and those members of Sword, plus whatever's happening between, say, Blackbeard and Law. Also, the things that are going on with Shanks on Elbaf. So there's plenty to keep Oda busy. But once some of those stories and kind of storylines come to a close, the Cross Guild might be the perfect thing to now talk about what's going on in the larger world of One Piece. So what do you think their aim is, and when do you think they're going to do it? Let us know what you think about that and all the rest in the comments below. So as we wrap up our video for the day, we'd like to thank you all so much for watching the video, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Be sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that red subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I hope to see you all in our next video, and let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.